man, look what I won.
Wow, what'd you win that for?
For having the best pig in the competition.
Wait, you bred a pig?
Sure did. Most genetically perfect one in the contest.
Oink. Oh my god!
Yes, he's something, isn't he?
Are those fists?
Damn right, show him, pig.
Football, football. Football, football, football. Football, football, football. Football, football, football. Football, football.
Welcome to week 6 of the CRFFL, the Mother Fudgin' podcast with the boys, Mike Stemler, Will Howard. We're here to break down games. We're here to break down trades. We're here to break down waivers. There's a lot going on in the league as usual. Bye weeks, we're full into it. We've got injuries. We've got waiver wire pickups. We've got an undefeated getting their first L. How are you feeling today, Will? What do you got to say?
Oh my goodness, I'm shaking my Applebee's. I am absolutely shipping my drawers to Kazakhstan. We have a good week to review. You know, surprisingly, it was overall a low scoring compared to what it has been in the previous weeks. It was a low scoring week for most teams. A lot of teams who usually are hitting that 200 point club, not hitting that. Besides you, obviously, spoilers, hitting that 200 point club. A lot of people in the 130s to 150s range, which we don't see often for it. But like you said, we have some upsets. We have a Titan falling, and I'm just ready to get into it because it's just so much fun to review all of this with you. And we, you know, because we don't have a special Mike's Magical Corner for this week or any special segment, we want to go down into the nitty-gritty of what Mike loves the most. And what do you love the most, Mike, besides a nice pina colada on the beach?
Well, I think we all know that pina coladas on the beach are probably one of the top 5 greatest things in life. There's nothing like it. But the only thing that's better than that is the waivers, baby.
The waivers.
It's the waivers. And we're about to get into it. But first, let's jump into the trades. Let's jump into the trades first because we say we're going to do that.
Yeah.
So we had 2 trades this week. Now, what I'm going to say about my trade before you can do your analysis is now this is a little spoiler for the future. I've done 2 trades. Both trades that I've done, the team I've traded with has won their game after. How do you feel about that?
Who was the last person?
Tori. Tori got her first win after we traded.
You know, it's interesting because you would think that your trades it's almost like helping the homeless, like, you know, giving them money, giving them shelter, giving them a meal to eat. But you see, like, afterwards,
I'm gonna put my glasses on.
Yeah, put your glasses on.
Just block out the hate that you're about to give. I feel like
because if you look at Tori, you gave the homeless a meal, but they're still homeless. She still lost. She lost this week. She won 1. She lost again. Gordon won 1. Congratulations. But was it just one meal in the storm that he is currently in? And personally, I think it is. Let's go into it. The trade that wounded up on Mr. Stemler over here's desk. Very interesting one. Him to receive Alvin Kamara and Ladd McConkey, and for Gordon, the sender of that trade, to get Chuba Hubbard. Now let's look into the details of that. Alvin Kamara working with New Orleans, not doing anything fantastic. Not a dud. I would say around with a 2-flex league, I would say he's a flex option. Ladd McConkey, before going into this game, was the lowest scorer fantasy-wise of the wide receivers wideout. You also had a lot of questions of not Justin Herbert, but their O-line, the Justin Herbert's ability to have enough time to actually be able to sling the ball out to his wideout options. So it looked like that, but on the other side, you had Chuba Hubbard, who was injured going into last week, unlikely to rejoin going into this week, and his understudy, Mr. Rico Dowd. Rico.
Uncle Rico.
Man has been given a chance, and he is not squandering it. Going back-to-back mid-40s points. So now you
back-to-back 200-yard plus production games.
Absolutely.
Huge.
Absolutely wild. And so you have the question now of is Hubbard's time over? Because when he was not injured, he was not producing unbelievable. He wasn't cooking. He was cooking, but he wasn't cooking. He could have used more seasoning. He had a couple of 20-point games in the beginning, but then he was really diving down to the low, not even barely reaching the teens in week 3 and week 4. And of course, he did not have a 40-point game. So overall, if I had to assess this trade, if I have to assess it now after the game, it's obvious he lost because you have Rico balling. You have Ladd balling this week, but that's mainly because QJ was out. So I can't really blame Gordon for that. But if I look at it before it even happens, and I have to look at it kind of biased because in the background, he was working with me on a trade. Ladd McConkey, not even Alvin Kamara, it was Ladd McConkey and Drake May for DeAndre Swift. And I personally, if I had to choose between Hubbard and Swift, I would choose Swift. Mainly because Swift is the diehard number 1. Does not have an understudy coming in to take him, and he's healthy. Gordon, you need help now. You don't need the potential of help in even a week from now. You need help now. You won your game, so I can't roast you too much. But I think we could have made a good trade of a Ladd McConkey or a DK Metcalf, which is what I really wanted, and maybe one other for 2 running back options that I was willing to give. Didn't work out. You ghosted me, and you accepted this trade. I think Mike winds up the winner in this. I think Alvin Kamara is a nice option. I think Ladd is a good option, and hopefully that this is the kickstart that he's going. And Hubbard, I don't know when he comes back if he's solidified to be that guy.
Yeah, my only caveat to the trade is Rico balled out against the Dolphins and the Cowboys, which have both notoriously have terrible defenses this year, and teams have been balling. So I don't know if Rico's going to be the guy going forward. So we'll see what happens with that. Also, to your point, QJ was out. So Ladd had not been producing like he was in this last game. And the only question is when QJ comes back, how valuable is Ladd? The Alvin Kamara edition is just kind of like to me it's like that was just kind of like a little sprinkle. I wasn't really planning on playing him or starting him. To me, it was really just Ladd and Hubbard. So it is what it is.
I guess the question, I guess the last question, just so we're not going too far though, I want to hear your opinion on this. If you were in Gordon's shoes and you had the opportunity to either pick up Hubbard or pick up Swift, who would you pick? Because I think I would pick Swift.
I think with the first downs, I think running backs are just more valuable. And I mean, like,
they're both running backs.
Swift. Oh, I thought Swift was a receiver for some reason.
No, Swift is a running back.
Yeah, it's just so hard because the Bears and the Panthers both kind of suck. So you don't really know which way to go with. I think it's a roll of the dice there. I just think Swift had a great Monday night game and Rico's balled out the past 2 weeks. So it just kind of like with those things happening, that's why you're probably leaning towards Swift.
Okay.
But I think before the trade took place, I think it's hard to know which way to go there. But I agree with you. Swift was a clear number 1, but Rico was not a number 2. He was not getting production. He made the most of his last 2 games.
Yeah.
So
they got the Jets this week, so we'll see if he does it for a 3rd week in a row.
Yeah. Okay, going to the next trade. I don't really know much about this trade with Katie and Joel. What are your kind of thoughts on it? It just seems like just kind of like a whatever,
So the trade is Joel receives Kenneth Walker. Katie receives Jake Tungs and $10 of fab. If we scroll down and we look at, I think here's the biggest thing. $10 of fab. That's 10% of your monies, which is future waiver pickups. That took her from $25 to $35. That, I think, gives her the nice room. If she wants to just if something happens and she wants to drop a bomb in the waiver, she now has the capital to do that, which I think is fantastic for her. Her previous tight end options, Dalton Kincaid, who is now out. So I think this looks good. I think this is good for Katie. She gets a replacement tight end, who has been doing okay numbers. 12 points this week. Last week was 19 points. The week 4 was 16 points. So decent for a tight end. She gets more money, which I like as well. And then on Joel's end, Joel is in that area where he just needs soldiers. He needs options. He's getting pushed back on the front lines. We're talking about running back options. I like Kenneth Walker. He did not do great this week against Jacksonville, which was honestly a surprise. I hope that he bounces back in Houston. But I think it gives him another option to play with. He didn't need to keep that tight end. He has Jake Ferguson.
The question is, how much of an upgrade at tight end is that for Katie?
Well, it depends on how long Dalton Kincaid is out. I mean, if Dalton Kincaid is out for a little bit, which apparently right now he's considered day to day, they have the bye week this week. Maybe he's healthy for Carolina, but if Katie gets a stopgap for a couple of weeks and just trades out Kenneth Walker, which she was not using because she has Christian McCaffrey and Josh Jacobs as her top 2 running backs, she doesn't need Kenneth Walker. So get your stopgap to keep the train rolling, trying to stay in that top 4. And then when Kincaid comes back, you're good to go. And if someone needs a tight end, you can ship onwards. And you get money for waivers. I think it favors Katie overall. But
to me, I see an even trade here. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, Heather just popped in the screen back here. I see an even trade here.
Tell her to put her head down in shame.
I see an even trade here, and I think that it was pretty. There she is. I think it was pretty solid.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Katie's picking up $10 in Fab.
Yeah.
But looking at the players, I think that it was a good 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah.
So,
If you had to swing it to, because I think it's also pretty much even. If you had to swing it one way, who would you swing it to that got the better end of the deal?
I would just say Katie. I think Katie gets the bigger impact to the point that you made with the $10 in Fab, because she needed that. She needed a 10% Fab boost for her overall budget. I mean, and you're going to need that later in the game. So I think player for player is good, but I think Katie gets a little bit more of an impact for her team getting that extra $10, which I think is going to come into play later in the season.
Awesome. Other than that, we had a few waiver wire pickups. I think the biggest waiver wire pickups to talk about, Kendrick Bourne, $18 by Joel, the man out of San Francisco, looking like a baller. And I think that is a great pickup for Joel, and I think you need to start him now, because here is the honest truth. Juan Jennings is day-to-day. Ricky Parcell is day-to-day. Bucky Irving is, or not Bucky Irving. They have someone else who's injured as well. I can't remember. A lot of people are injured.
Did he start him?
I don't know if he started him or not, but he put up a nice 25 points.
Yeah.
He's getting a good percentage of the snaps. He's getting a lot of targets, 9 targets this week, 11 targets the week before. Play him now while you can, because he's getting good value. I think you spend that $18 and you definitely get your value's worth. He did not start him. He put him on the bench, which honestly, you change him out and he gets the win. He gets the win. So it's like
I think Joel's got to start him now, because the reason why he's getting high production is because Drake May? Who's the quarterback? Who's the backup? No, Mac Jones. Mac Jones is the quarterback right now starting for the 49ers while Purdy is out. And Jones came from New England where they were with Bourne. So they got that wide receiver connection. Yeah. And you don't know how long you're going to have Jones in the game until Purdy comes back.
Yeah.
So you got to put him in now. If you're going to spend the $18 on him, you got to get him in your lineup.
And that's what I'm saying. On top of that, Ricky Parcell injured. Juan Jennings limited touches because he's still coming back from like 5 broken ribs. Brandon Ayuk, I believe he's on the PUP list right now. Like, Kendrick is the guy right now. So it's like you spend $18, play that man. You spent the money, play him. Other than that,
how about the waiver wire bust with Heather dropping $15 for Haskins and hope to replace Hampton and getting no production out of him?
I think it was a toss up. Coming from the Chargers fan, when Hampton went out, it's very hard to be a Charger right now because you come into the season with your Najee Harris and Hampton being your top 2 running backs, and now it's Hassan Haskins, which we haven't seen a lot of, and Kamani Vidal, which we haven't seen a lot of. And I can tell you as the fan, I didn't know who was going to be the main guy. I thought it was going to be Haskins. The Chargers fandom was saying Haskins was probably going to be the next guy in line. That's why you see the 4 bids. Heather with $15. I was second with $11. I didn't even bid on Kamani Vidal. But it went to Kevin. I guess the question is, and this is where I'm not sure. We'll see when they go against Indiana, a better defense. Was this a one-time thing, or is he actually going to start getting the reps consistently more to it? I don't think it's time to panic right now, Heather. I mean, overall, you only have $18 in fab, so to lose $15 and only have 18 left over on this running back, it's 1 week. I think we hold for a second. If he doesn't produce this upcoming week, I would start to be like, oh, that was kind of a stinky pickup. A little bit of a stinky pickup.
Just a stinky.
Yeah. But
I'm also getting news here. I'm getting news. Breaking news. Breaking news. We will have a magical corner.
Oh, we will have a magical corner.
We will have one. So I'm getting breaking news that we will have one into the wee hours of the night. So for everybody complaining this podcast is long, suck it up. It's going to be long.
It's kind of... We added this bit in because of the corner got canceled. Now the corner's back in.
The corner's back. All right, well, let's jump into the games.
Let's jump
All right, here we go. I really enjoyed doing that. I wouldn't mind doing that every week, to be honest with you.
That's what I'm saying.
Keeps us sharp. All right, we're jumping in here with the score. We've got big old Tum-Tums himself, a.k.a. Lauren Tremper, with the 196.98 against Caleb Tremper with the 186.60. Now, first of all, sorry, Caleb, that you haven't been able to watch these because we're using foul language. But tonight, we were on our P's and Q's. You're dealing with a person in the restaurant industry and the construction industry, so it's a difficult thing for us to do.
It's a part of
We're trying our best.
It's the culture.
It's the culture. Now, what I will say is I had the top score of the week. Will, you had the second top score, and Caleb had the third top score. So it's hard to see him get a loss at the end of the day. Achane balls out 38.5 points, continues to be a great asset in the fantasy league. The Dolphins really have nobody else to go to besides him at this point. So I think that's a stop. They have Waddle, but that's really it. And overall, his team just didn't perform bad at all. I mean, I think if I were to critique his team, the biggest thing he needs to move on from is the Bills' defense. You got to get a different defense in there, in my opinion. I don't know what you need to do there, but yeah, they only had really, in this league, I mean, with our point scoring system, I mean, 6 points on defense isn't going to get it done. So I would say looking at the Bills' defense is an area that I would kind of critique him in. But the rest of his team is not the worst thing I've ever seen. Yeah, I just think that he went up against you, and it was looking bad. I thought you were going to be on this podcast with a brown paper bag over your head. Lo and behold, late in the game, Swift breaks one free for a touchdown
55-yard catch.
And ruins the Commanders/Redskins' hopes, as well as Caleb's, and that's just absolutely brutal. Big win for you is JSN. JSN he's just balling out. I mean, great win. What a recovery from Bucky Irving going down. You got JSN picking up the slack. Another one, dude. Another big one for you. Patty Mahomes.
Crazy.
QB6, QB20 in week 3. QB3, QB4, QB1. Crazy.
Back-to-back 40 points.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Taylor Swift effect, it may be on Patty Mahomes, baby, not on Travis Kelce. I mean, that boy out here balling. So, also, kudos to you going back to Lauren Tremper. I was ready to come on here and talk trash about how you got a loss and how you shouldn't have moved away from Shawn's mom's name, but you still got the win. That's awesome. So, yeah, man, I think that you did a really good job on your management here. T. Higgins was on your bench. And I mean, I guess Calvin Ridley, did he get injured? He says he's out. Did he get injured in the game?
He got injured in like the first or second quarter, and
Yeah,
he's gone.
not gonna throw shade at that because they played the Raiders, so obviously you
Yeah.
want to play that person. Looking at Caleb's bench, he's still got an empty bench spot, which that's I don't know what's going down with that. Please fix that ASAP. CJ Stroud, go ahead and dump him off your bench. No need to even hold him there. Like, get a different backup quarterback or try to cash that in for another production spot because you have no production on your bench. You have no options down there. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. What's your take on this matchup? You obviously were watching it close. You were the one in the game.
Yeah, I was enthralled while I was playing Baldur's Gate with my friends yesterday. Just updating fantasy. I say it every week. I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm making it out with the hair of my chinny chin chin. But I think you're seeing the trend now. When I go against someone, except for I believe last week, was it last week? I think it was last week's. Yeah, it was last week against Gordon. Gordon was my chill week. Every single team I've gone against, their players show up since week 1. The only break was week 5 for me, and this was no different. I mean, if you look at the weekly report that Sleeper does, Caleb won Best Manager, and it says his lineup was 100% perfect possible lineup. So he didn't get anything wrong. And it's just
Now, to be fair, just real quick, are you saying that you're getting every team's best? Because I've had more points scored against me.
I'm saying that when I go again, I'm not saying overall. I'm saying like a
Okay.
team who is not doing great, like Caleb is 1-5. His team is not great, but of course the time that I go against him, HN does 38 points. I mean, just put a dog collar around me and walk me around the block. Brian Thomas, who's been an absolute, has done nothing. 10 points, 11 points, 9 points, 13 points, 15 points. Throws up 27 points. Just bend me over and spank me with the paddle like they do at frat parties. Like, are you kidding me? Scary Terry goes out, and he has to put in Rashad White, 3 points, has a 17 point, 2 points, 11 points, throws 23 points. I mean, just
Josh Allen only scored 25.
Feed me kibble. Feed me kibble right now.
But Josh Allen only scored 25.
And that's honestly what saved me. That's what saved me.
It is what saved you.
It was Josh Allen and the Bills defense along with DeAndre Swift throwing up 35 points. But that's the thing. It's like there's always just there's just a couple of players that just go off. Brian Thomas has done nothing. He does something this week. HN, who has been doing pretty good, this is his first 30, almost 40 point game. This is what I'm talking about. It's like, I can't just have I'm going into Monday and I can't go into Monday night games with either direction of either I've secured it, I don't have to worry about it, or I've lost it and I don't even need to look at it because there's no way that I'm going to win. It's always a nail biter into Monday with me, except for last week against Gordon. So it's just like, I'm just going to need blood pressure medication by the end of it. But, we'll see how we do as we move forward. My running backs really underperformed. This is the first time that Gibbs and Warren have both underperformed. I got unlucky with Bucky Irving being out. We'll see how he does. T. Higgins throwing up some decent points 2 weeks in a row. For a flex option, I might throw him in there, but Addison comes back as well. I mean, we'll see. Swift might be starting RB2, RB1 now because he's been doing great. And, I make it through what I would call my easy season or my easy few weeks. I went week 3 was Tori, week 4 was Shawn, week 5 was Gordon, week 6 was Caleb. Those were my 4 weeks against the lower end. I go against Heather this week. So it's like, I won the games that I was supposed to win. Now, if I really want to set myself apart, I got to win the games that either are supposed to be close or I wasn't expected to win. So we'll see how it goes.
For sure.
For sure. We're going to move on to our next game. Our next game, we're going to look at yours, Mike. Mike's Magical Milkmen, 242 points. The only manager to be in the 200 point club. And I think you had the highest score record last week of 223, and you smashed it again at 242. Absolutely ridiculous. And who are you going against? Back that ass up. Back that Applebee's up. I was talking about a donkey. Back that Applebee's up. Get yourself a chicken tender combo while you're there and chill around the neighborhood for a little bit. Mr. Shawn
Dan Campbell.
With Dan Campbell. Mr. Shawn Melton, 0-6. And what's really sad about this is, Shawn, you actually put up some serious fudging moolah. You put up some
Okay,
points.
before you go breakdown, here's my question I have to you.
Okay.
Can Shawn do this week in and week out with this team? Do you feel like it's just this is a one and done? Or can his team hit a stride? Because if you can put up in the 180s, you're going to get some wins. It's just a matter of time.
I don't think so.
Do you feel okay?
Here's the reason why. Bijan Robinson, let's break down how he got to 185. Bijan Robinson put up 44 points. He's a stud. Can he do that again? I believe he can. But he is in the 20 to low 30 range of what he's produced right now. 28 points, 27 points, 22 points, 38 points, all before then. So you're probably losing 10 points there on average. Dallas Goedert, 33 points. Is he producing 33 points every single week? No, he's not. Las Vegas, putting up 24 points. Is Las Vegas putting up 24 points every single week? No, they're not. So you're talking between Dallas Goedert not having that many points, probably losing about 15 points. Las Vegas probably losing about 15 points in that. And that's me being beneficial to them and saying they get 9 points consistently. And Bijan Robinson probably losing 5 to 10 points. He's back down in the 40s to 50s range. I just think that the people that he had that go off went off. On top of that, Egbuka out. And he was balling. Absolutely balling. How long he's out for, I am not sure, but it is a hamstring injury, and he's getting an MRI today. They haven't released the results, but if you're getting an MRI, it's not looking good. MRIs do not mean, oh, he'll be back next week, it's okay. So I'm worried about that because he was your wide receiver one, and I would think rightfully so. So I think that's scary times personally. You still got Justin Jefferson, so he can fit right back in. But now, instead of having Justin Jefferson and Egbuka, you have Justin Jefferson and McMillan. McMillan has been putting up some consistent points the past few weeks, so hopefully. But you're relying on a Panthers wide receiver to keep up with the points to really keep you there. On top of that, your flex in your running back, your RB2 is not amazing. Chase Brown was a big letdown. And then your flex options, we'll see what Sterling Shepard does because he is the next person in line now that Egbuka and Mike Evans are injured. And then Travion Henderson, and really the running back situation in New England is just bleak all around. So, no, I don't think he can.
My only caveat to anybody with Panthers players, that's me with Rico and it's with Shawn with McMillan, is they played the Cowboys and they played the Dolphins the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So take all that with a grain of salt. I think that it could be fool's gold. If I'm Shawn, I might be looking to make a trade for McMillan. I think you can get some value out of McMillan now.
Sell high.
And I think you got to sell high. Yeah, that's would be my take.
Because Panthers have the Jets next week, which would be another grain of salt game. Then they got Buffalo. And after that, Green Bay. Then they got New Orleans. Yeah. Then you got Atlanta. Atlanta has a good defense. San Francisco, the Rams, and then you have the bye. So it's they're running out of the easy defenses to go against. So,
but that's what I'm saying about the Jets playing the Jets next week. Someone could take a risk on McMillan to get a boost next week, I'm just going to throw it out there, Shawn. You might want to look at Heather. She's got a lot of firepower on her team, a lot of assets to trade, and
Might throw you
she's
something.
the injury bug has hit her. The
Yes.
injury bug has hit her. She's looking for somebody with production.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get a Scattaboo. Maybe you can get something so she can get a boost to avoid going to 2 losses in a row. Just
Yeah.
saying, throwing it out there.
I think that's a good look up. But Shawn, you're gonna get that win. I can taste it. I can feel it. I mean, if you literally went up against anyone besides me, Caleb, or Mike, you win. You get that first win. But it is kind of funny that you're still losing. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's still funny. Flipping over to you though. I mean, we now need to start talking about are you now the person we're afraid of? Because
no.
I mean, here's the thing. Justin Herbert is doing great. They picked up they're beefing the offensive line is getting beefier and beefier, slowly but surely coming back. Joe Alt's going to be coming back. So he's still an elite quarterback. So you're good there. Your running backs, I still don't like Breece Hall that much, but he didn't do great. I mean, it was not a good day to be a Jets guy. And then also Rico, you have the grain of salt. So I do want to hold on that, but I mean the running backs the wide receivers you have, I mean, it is just an absolute deep, deep, deep pit that you can pick from. Lad McConkey really benefits on QJ being out of with an injury, 100 yards and his first touchdown of the season. Is that going to be the kickstart that he needs to really get going? George Pickens is absolutely balling. His second 40-yard point fantasy point game in 3 weeks. Crazy. Waddle is really still not as good as last week against Carolina with 30 points, but against the Chargers defense, which I would say is a better defense, almost putting up 20 points is perfect for your flex option. Jamar Chase, it looks like what's happening with the Bengals is starting to come back. They're starting to actually really get production.
Well, they got Flacco.
Flacco's really helping, and you're out of the hard defenses, Denver, Detroit, Green Bay. You're on to Pittsburgh, still a little bit of a hard defense, but a little bit more palatable. Then you got the Jets, then you got the Bears, then you got Pittsburgh again, then you got New England, and Baltimore have not been great defensively. So it's like I see an upside with Chase right now. So it's looking good. It's looking really good. And then you look at your bench, Rashee Rice coming off a suspension soon. Quentin Johnston, I don't think is a serious injury. He was just ruled out last minute, so I think he's going to be back. He's still the wide receiver 1 there. So I think you have power, and I think you still got trade value to where you can use it to spin what you are lacking. You can spin it to what you need.
Where I'm looking to make trades, this is for the league to know if they listen to this. I've got McBride, I've got Brock Bowers, I've got Hunter Henry, and I got George Kittle. If you are looking for a tight end upgrade,
you have
I got you.
Why do you have 4 tight ends? That's
crazy.
I mean,
what am I going to? What am I going to do? What am I going to do, dude?
You can't drop them all.
I'm not dropping these. George Kittle and George Kittle's coming back before the season's over, and Brock Bowers. I mean, so I'm looking to make trades. So yes, I feel very good about my team. Am I the new heel of the league? Maybe I am. Maybe I'm the new heel. I would carry that. I would carry that with honor in this season.
We might need to look for a new bad guy. We'll see.
You might need to, and it might be me, and I'm not mad about it. I'm in it. I'm in for it. So again, the only thing I'll say is the fool's gold of Rico could be wearing off. The Jets next week could be another sprinkling of it.
Yeah.
But I think Hubbard's coming back next week, so that could be wearing off.
I think if you boost your running back, your RB1 and RB2 to more consistent, like ballers, you sweep the league. I think.
Well,
I think that's your weakest part.
I don't think anybody's going to give me I think my trade capitals. I don't think no one's going to trade with me. I think it's over.
So that is the problem when you become the one of the villains of the league. It's like,
I think it's
really
over.
Want to help Mike?
I think it's over. I think the only thing I'm getting for trades is Fab, which I'm going to be honest, I will take it. I have no Fab, so I'm down for it.
You
I'm here
are
for it.
a fab hole. I'll tell you what. You're doing whatever you can to get some fab money.
I like that.
Mm.
All right. Well, moving on. We're going to
Gordon.
actually.
What?
So this. Oh. Yeah. We're still good. We're still good for the Magical Milkman corner.
All right. Well, the next matchup then, because we're still good for that, we have the winner going to 2-4. Gordzilla versus the sleeper El Toro. Gordon hitting a nice medium pace 153 to Tori's decently disappointing 136. And Mr. Mike, you got a corner with him with his win. We're going to see what it's like to be inside of Gordon's mind. How blessed are we? So let's go.
So blessed.
Let's go to Mike's magical corner right now and see what Gordon has to how Gordon's feeling about the win this week. Let's go to it.
Football.
Gordon, what's up, dude? Welcome to Mike's Magical Corner. We're talking to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Gordon Anderson. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, well, I'm just happy to be here. Happy
I
to
love
finally
it.
have my chance to air out some laundry.
I love it. Well, the floor is yours right now. I'm going to give you a chance right here. You get a win this week, which I think is absolutely huge. How do you feel? I think the biggest thing that people want to hear is how do you feel about the trade between you and myself?
Well, I mean, in one sense, I'm pissed because Lad did nothing all year, and then he goes to the Magical Milkman and straight up blows up, which makes me more angry than anything in the world. And I mean, honestly, Alvin Kamara, he was doing well, but he just wasn't like, I mean, he was never having that blow up, And
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's like, oh, you traded for Hubbard, like he's not gonna do anything because that new rookie or whatever is blowing up. But like, I think back to last year with Diggs and Montgomery, right? They
Yeah.
didn't stop playing Montgomery because Diggs was blowing up. They just played them
Yeah.
both. So I
Yeah.
feel
No, you're
like
right.
Hubbard, yeah, he might not play as much as he did, but he's still going to get those big time runs. He's still going to get those touchdowns. And they're not going to just retire him because, oh, this young guy is blowing up. No, they're going to keep him on the roster. They're going to play him just as much as the young guy, if not more, because he was their stud before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So
I
I think he's a solid RB2.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Well, I also think, to your point, Ladd had not played well. And I just think that I got lucky because Quentin Johnson was out. So I
Yeah.
think when Quentin Johnson comes back, it's going to obviously bring Ladd's value back down. I just think it looks really good this week. And to your point, Alvin Kamara was just kind of like a throw in for the trade. Like I don't really have like a space to start him. So it
He's
just made
definitely
me
a good buy player.
yeah.
Like if one of your
So
RBs is hurt or
yeah.
on buy.
So, and again, I would say with Rico, we played the Dolphins and we played the Cowboys. So it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to take the starting job from Hubbard because he could come back. So I don't think that I feel similar to you. I don't think the trade was as lopsided as people think it is, and I just think time will tell as the trade washes out. But what I will say, and I said this in another podcast, and the other part is I've made two trades with two owners, and after those trades, both those owners won games.
Yeah. Well,
That's all
I
I'm going to
mean,
say.
I didn't play Hubbard because he was out, but I
Yeah.
mean, I had some good hits this week. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like fantasy is that thing where I mean, I can have a week where I blow up and have 200 points and Heather has less than me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I feel
Well,
like
you outscored to your point, you outscored Heather this week.
yeah, exactly. And I saw that and I was like, wow, like that it's all like luck of the draw and you never know. Okay, you can do AI, you can draft whoever you want, but 1 week they're spectacular, like the guy from the Giants. He had 40 some odd points one week, and then the next week he had like 3.
Yeah.
So, and I paid $40 for him.
Yeah. How do you feel kind of jumping ahead to next week? You play Joel.
Yep.
Joel is in the 6th spot. You're in the 7th spot. You both have the same record. So whoever wins is going to be in the playoff spot. Whoever loses is dropping down. He's on a 2-game losing streak. You just won a game. How are you feeling about next week's game? I think right now, let's see here. Right now,
Who's projected?
he's projected to win 52 to 48, but I don't know if y'all's lineups are set or whatever. So,
No.
but
I
it's a big
think
game. That's
I
a
think
big
it
game.
depends on a lot. I think it depends on a lot. For example, if Chuba is back, um, if I have that spot, and then Ashton Genty, man, like he can have a game where he scores 60 points. Jaden Daniels, he can have a game where he scores 40 points. And if him and Debo are both on fire, he's throwing touchdowns to Debo. That's 12 points in one pass play. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of things when it comes to Commanders, it depends on if Terry McLaurin is back. Because if Terry McLaurin isn't there and Noah Brown isn't there, well, guess what? Who are they going to double? They're going to double Debo because he's the
hmm
only threat we have at wide receiver. Um, so there's a lot of that runs into that.
Yeah. Looking at your game next week, the Commanders play Dallas, which their defense has been bad. So I think that like Daniels and Debo could have a huge game, which I think
Yeah,
could propel you to the win. Um, and looking at Joel's matchups with his teams, just real quick, it's not anything that's really I see that stands out as favorable. I think that you have a more favorable matchup with Jaden Daniels and Debo Samuel. Genty does play Kansas City with Chris Jones. That would be a red flag for me to look at is the running game could be bad for Las Vegas, but you just don't know.
he's still my best running back
Oh
on
yeah,
the
I mean you
team,
start him,
so
no
I still
question,
have
you
to
start
play
him.
him.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
my question now is like, okay, do I drop one of my flex players and put in Bill and then put in Chuba? Or if he's not back, put in Bill in my RB2 spot?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the questions I'm having right now is like, who am I playing in my flex? Okay. All right. Is this going to be, and like, if I also have the thought that if Terry McLaurin is not back, I might play Luke McCaffrey.
hmm
Because he has had some killer games lately. And I mean, he's the only other threat that we have at wide receiver if Terry McLaurin and Brown are out. So, it's kind of I got to think about it and risk, it's what we do in fantasy. You risk it. You risk it
For
all.
sure.
You could have a breakout or you could get 2 points.
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, Sal, that was the game I picked for next week is like my marquee game. So how are you feeling just about the league in general? Are you in year 2? Are you enjoying the league? You know,
Well,
obviously
uh,
you've had a lot of ups and downs in the league. I
yeah,
feel like last year you scored a lot of points, you
but I
know,
lost a lot of games.
lost a lot of games.
I was,
This year I feel like you're just scrappy. You're being scrappy.
man, I'm trying to hang in there. I'm trying to make the trades, but you got to understand, I can make trades, but nobody's going to trade me anybody good. Like I can't get to that 200 point mark because guess what? I don't have the players to trade to get those players that do score the 200 points. So I'm just trying to get the players that are going to have a breakout game when I need it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that I'm only going to win 2 games this season. I mean, it makes me feel good that I'm 2 games ahead of Shawn. So, you know, um, you know,
I don't
that,
think
that
you're going to win 2 games. I don't think, like I said in every one of these podcasts, I don't think you have a bad team. But
Yeah.
just with the scoring in our league, it's hard to win when you're just
Yeah.
scoring around the 150 mark. So I'm
Well,
also going to give you a chance now. What are your thoughts? What changes would you make to the league? Make your case for next year's scoring, what you want to see. Is there any big changes you want to see?
yes, there is. All right. So I 100%, I don't mind wide receivers and running backs getting the first down point.
But not
But
quarterbacks.
quarterbacks, no. That is ridiculous. I mean, I don't mind it because Jane Daniels runs a lot. Like, if you can make it where he runs for a first down, okay. But throwing for a first down, like, I mean, like, if you have a quarterback like Josh Allen who bombs the ball every time, he's only going to get 3 or 4. But if you have a quarterback who throws short passes, like, I don't know who else does that, but like throws that short pass, like maybe Bryce Young does, he's going to get 12 points from a first down
Yeah.
because he got 12 first downs by throwing short passes, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say if you can make it where the quarterback scores by a run, that's great. But if you
Yeah.
could do it where quarterback's not getting a first down by throwing, that's one thing. I also this is probably not going to be very popular throughout the league, but I would like to go to a super flex
Okay, so
where
what's that? You want
so
to
you
have
have a flex wide receiver, tight end, running back. You have a wide receiver, tight. You do whatever flexes you want, but one of the flexes is whatever position you want. So it's a 2 quarterback league, really.
Mhm.
So you think about it like Jane Daniels got me 20, 30 points this week, but then I'd have a second, like if I played Drake May and Jane Daniels, that's 70 points right there, you know? Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, and obviously that is gonna blow up the point values, but I've done it in a lot of leagues. And I mean, yeah, everybody's getting close to 200 points. Everybody's getting
Yeah.
like 190 or 200. That's one thing I've liked. I also this is more of a fact of what happened to me last year. So I was placed, I think, fourth or fifth in the playoffs last year, but I had the second most points. Like I had everybody who was behind me or above me, like you were above me, Shawn was above me, but I had 100 points more than both of y'all.
Yeah.
And then I was only 100 points behind Kevin, or
Yeah.
a couple 100 points behind Kevin. But like, so instead of just playing against my opponent, you also pay against the league average. So
Hmm.
whereas I'm scoring
So every week
170 points,
you can get 2 wins, 2 losses, or 1-1.
yes.
Yeah,
And that
based
and
off
that
how many points you score.
but that keeps it from like, okay, you played me, right? Say you and I played. I scored 120 and you scored 75, right? But everybody else scored like 160, 170, 180. I'm only going to get one win
Yeah.
because my average wasn't above the league
Above.
average.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of keeps it like, okay, yeah, you might win, but like you're getting what you deserve, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You're
I
not winning
think,
because you're good, but
yeah. I think on the three arguments you made, I can't get on board with a super flex. I'm not a fan of 2 quarterback leagues, but I agree with you with the first downs with quarterbacks. I think it needs to go away. And I would not mind moving to some way where you get rewarded for scoring. Because example, this week, Shawn had the fourth highest score. He had 185 points, but he played against me and he got a loss.
and that's exactly what I'm saying.
And
Like
and
Shawn
that
would have
and
gotten
he
his
would have
first
gotten a
win.
win, and that kind of sucks. So I think that would be a very interesting thing to institute. So I'm in favor of looking at that. I will say this as commissioner of the league, I am good to relinquish scoring duties to. I think I'm going to charge Shawn to be the person in charge of that next year because he understands the numbers and like the nitty gritty of scoring so much better than me.
Well,
And I would like default to his suggestions. I would rather him lead that discussion because I think our scoring is ridiculous and needs to be
yeah.
fixed.
Well, my only
So,
debate to that is he's going to make it so that he drafts the best players.
No, I don't think he's going to do that. I think,
No.
well, it's like we'll all have the same scoring structure, but
Yeah.
I
No,
think
I
this
get it.
year the scoring structure, like it's kind of fun, like it's fun seeing the big scores, but there's also a part of me that's like, oh, these scores are kind of like ridiculous.
Well,
Like,
the fact that I don't know. I when I played I think I don't remember who I was playing, but it was like I was within striking distance just because of first downs.
yeah, I know. It's
You know?
crazy.
And like I
It's
mean
crazy.
I got I was watching the game last night and I was keeping up with my fantasy score and I was like, oh no, Debo is sucking. But then Jaden Daniels gets a first down and another first down
Yeah,
and
I
a
know.
first down. And I'm
I
like,
know.
all right, I got
The
this
first
game. It's in the
first
bag.
the first downs matter big time.
Yeah.
So, all right, dude. Well, hey, my game of the week next week is your and Joel's game. I'm going to be watching that game very closely, and
Me
yeah,
too.
I think yeah, I think that uh, yeah, it's going to be super interesting to see. I think y'all are two evenly matched teams, and we'll see where it is. So,
Well,
quick close out. Who do you think you can't pick yourself? Who's your favorite to win the league this year at this stage?
I hate it more than anything in the world to say it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying it. Katie or Heather. I hate them. I hate putting both of them in the top, but
I know
I
they
mean
have.
Rev Kev cannot win. And Heather, her first loss comes to Katie, and Katie only has one loss. I mean, like, what the heck?
I
How does
know.
that happen?
I agree. I think that
Oh,
they're both playing
I
extremely
mean, beating
well.
Heather by like almost 75 points last year, and then her coming through and just steamrolling. I don't even know if I played her
Is
yet,
there,
but
I'm going to give you a chance
man,
right now. I'm going to give you a chance right now to earn some brownie points. Does it give you a little, are you a little proud about your wife's performance in the fantasy football league? Be careful what you say. I'm giving you a chance right now.
yeah,
I'm
I
giving you
know
a chance right.
she's in the bedroom and she's probably listening to what I'm saying right now. So, um, in some sense, yes, I would say I'm proud, but in the same sense, I'm very disappointed because she's only picking Green Bay. Like, come on. I picked all the Washington Commanders. Joe picked all the Denver Broncos. Why is it that she is at the top of the league? Why am I not there? But no, yeah, I am proud. She often at times is like Jordan Baker or Jordan Love, and I'm like, well, who's playing who? And she's like, well, Baker's playing, Miami, and Jordan Love is playing Washington. It's like Miami, Baker Mayfield, like
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
And so like there's those things, and she asked me a lot of questions, and I feel like yeah, she's actually doing the research though. Um,
Oh yeah, she's in
but
it.
she loves those Green Bay Packers, man. Let me tell you what. And they've had two bad games, and I'm surprised she won. But that's
Yeah,
because she didn't play Jordan Love,
I
you
know.
know.
She could play
And
Baker.
if she had played Jordan Love against the Cleveland Browns when they played them or the Dallas Cowboys, she wouldn't have won. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just the way it goes. So,
yeah,
it's
for
hit or
sure.
miss.
All right,
But yeah,
dude. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on to Mike's Magical Corner. Looking
sorry I
forward
was
to
late.
see. No, you're good. Looking forward to seeing where you finish in the league. Looking forward to this game this week. So
You're going for number one. I'll be number one.
there you
I'm
go.
calling it now.
Congrats on the win this week. Love
Thank you.
seeing it.
Thank you. All
Keep it
right.
real.
Peace.
All right, Mike. As usual, your investigative journalism and your expert analysis is just unbelievable, unmatched, unmatched.
Thank you.
Can,
Let's hope that interview actually happened.
let's hope, because if not, then we're just gonna. I'm just gonna have a picture of like a llama jumping, and then we're just gonna cut right back.
Perfect.
But can
All
you
right.
can
Well,
you break down the analysis of this game for me?
jumping into the game. Again, like I'll say, I did a trade with Gordon. He got a win. Now, he didn't get a win with starting the player he traded for because he was injured.
Yes.
So that was kind of a bad look. But, his team played well. He went up against El Toro, who started out pretty solid. It was a back and forth game. But where Gordon really hung his hat here is with Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels came in, had a great game. Who's in the lineup? Who's in the lineup, Will? Look down.
Who's in the lineup?
Who's in his lineup?
We got Mr. Genti.
Dope. Keep going.
We got Charbonnet.
Keep going.
We got Mr. Moore.
Keep going.
We got Deebo Samuel.
Keep on going.
The tight end, Mason Taylor. Everybody knows who that is.
One more.
Oh, man. Is that my boy, Mr. DK Metcalf?
He's in there, boy.
He's finally in there.
He's in there. And look, 22.5 points production. So,
yeah.
Hey, I think made a good move. Rams, 24 points. Drake May outscores Jaden Daniels. So, but still gets the win, so can't throw too much shade there. Looks like he did a really good job optimizing his bench. That's the only area I would maybe like critique. I guess Debo with 6.4, but you're trying to get the double up there. It's hard to critique somebody when they get the win, but
yeah.
Zach Charbonnet, I mean, again, what I would say about his team is kind of what we've always said. It's like it's going to be hard to get wins when you score in the 150s in this league. And so it's not that his team is bad. His team is not bad. But the question is, how much is Hubbard going to add to that point? Can that trade, if you take out Charbonnet or you take out, who else he's got? No, he starts in his flex. He's starting wide receivers. So you take out Charbonnet and you put in Hubbard. Can that boost you up? I mean, I think Hubbard, if he is the RB1 that he was, he's going to get you more than 5.7 points. So you could see the 160s to 170s. Is that enough to get enough wins to get in the playoffs? We'll see. Now, going over to Tori, again, not a bad game, 136, not the worst thing. Jalen Hurts played well. A.J. Brown, 17 points, played well. She made a trade for that. Where she got hurt was Kyron Williams did not ball out like he usually does, only 19 points, which she just needs more for him. Mac Prater, 2 points on a kicker for Buffalo. That just hurts. Eagles defense, 3 points. That hurts. Tyler Warren, bright spot, still tight end production. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think she really had is CeeDee Lamb coming back this week?
I don't think so. No, he's looking good for week 7 against Washington.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you put CeeDee Lamb in this lineup, I really just don't think the hope is lost for Tori. I just don't feel like it is. I mean, you look at our league. I'm looking at our league standings right now, real quick. I mean, she's 1-5, but so is Caleb, and Gordon's only 2-4. So I mean, now Gordon's got a direct win, but again, Joel's in the 6th spot at only 2-4. It's like the hope is not lost to get into the playoffs and make a run. So you just can't give up hope right now. You just can't give up hope. So that's kind of my breakdown of those 2 games, 2 plays. What do you think about it?
I mean, I think overall, like, my opinion of the trade. I don't think Gordon got great value. And now that we've talked more about it and you added in the grain of salt in your when you mentioned in your matchup that Rico's been balling because you guys have been going against easier teams, I think that just makes it more volatile or more of an issue with Hubbard of not only is he going to be coming back against harder defenses, he is now going to be probably splitting more of that time with Rico overall. So I'm a little bit nervous there. Genti, it is great to see him actually starting to ball out and kind of get that consistency. He's, not hitting that 41 points like he did against Chicago, but consistent 19s. Is that RB1 quality? I need a little bit more from him to be RB1 level, but definitely hitting the RB2. Your actual RB2 of Charbonnet, obviously Hubbard's going to be that replacement. Does Hubbard really fill in that RB2? I think he will at least get you RB2 value, so you can have him there, if not at least a flex. The wide receivers, DJ Moore doesn't have this is where it's like you don't have a bad team, Gordon, but you don't have the unbelievable team. The wide receivers, DJ Moore has not had more than 13 points, and he's your wide receiver 1. Granted, when Ricky Purcell comes back, maybe he can fill in there, and that looks good. It's one of those things. And then Deebo Samuel, he's been actually balling. I can't blame you for that because he just had a bad week, which you wouldn't expect against the Bears. So hopefully he bounces back against Dallas, which I think he definitely can. Or in
Yeah, Dallas is like point scoring central, dude. Like
yeah,
if you got to put people in who are playing Dallas.
yeah. Robinson has a good week with 22 points. It's okay. It's good. I just need him to be more consistent because that's his first double digit score since week 2. DK, I love DK. I think DK is a perfect flex option. He is very touchdown dependent though. That's my only thing with him. But I think he's great. But you get that win. But again, it's just there's a few pieces missing that's going to get you wins against other teams. But you win against Tori, our sleeper, who is not doing much. Quickly going to Tori. This is the volatility that I talked about last week. The trade with you, where she picked up A.J. Brown, David Montgomery, Kenneth Gainwell, and you picked up Jalen Waddle and Terry McBride and some fab money, which, you love so much. This is what I said last week, is where A.J. Brown is starting to show good form, which is great, and I think that's a good pickup. There is the chance, though, because he has multiple weeks where he hasn't shown any points. So, that is your wide receiver 1. A little bit nervous. David Montgomery balls out last week when you need him to get you your first win. Only 11 points this week. And again, he could have had more points, but he's splitting with Gibbs. So there's always going to be a limiting factor. That's your RB2. CeeDee Lamb comes back. I think that's a big help for you because I think that is really going to be such a boost. Because I'm not going to give you crap for putting in Khalil because you really don't have a choice. So I think that's going to be a really good boost. And then Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs is also volatile just with his age as well. So I think you have the pieces. I think the crazy thing about this is that Gordon and Tori are almost in the exact same position. Gordon has got
Stephon Diggs goes against Tennessee next week too.
Should ball there.
Should ball.
But I think Gordon and Tori are in the same lineup, and that's why this 1-4 versus 1-4 matchup was going to be so big. Because it's like, who is going to be really moving towards the right path of that playoff spot, and who's going to be just hoping that they can, survive it out to at least not be in last place. Like, both teams, I think, have the pieces, but I think there's just too much volatility to really decide. So, Tori, I hope you bounce back because I really need you to beat your husband because I really need Shawn to come back 0-7, losing to his wife. I think that'd be fantastic.
Oh, man.
Moving on.
All right, moving on. We got Sutton Smell Like Shaheed versus Team RevKev. RevKev gets to win 130.22 points to 123.16. And dude, my guy, Joel, I thought you were going to get this win. I mean,
too.
is this the toilet bowl of the week? This is the lowest scoring game of the week. It's the toilet bowl.
It is toilet bowl, which you would not expect RevKev to be in the toilet bowl.
I know. And maybe it's time for us to stop saying he is who we thought he was.
Is it?
Because is it? I don't know. I don't know if it is. He still gets the win, so I'll focus on him first. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just like underperforming week. I mean, Trevor Lawrence with 31 points, Kay Vidal with 29 points. Like, what? That's kind of crazy on the bench. So, I mean, yeah, but you always start Saquon. You always start Cook. You always start St. Brown.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't be mad about that.
And everybody thought that Kamani was going to get the lesser between him and Hassan Haskins. So,
which is why everybody put the waivers in on Haskins.
Exactly.
So I mean,
Kevin picked him up for free. Well, for $5.
16 points for the defense for the Steelers. Which honestly, did he pick up the Steelers or did he have
I believe
I don't know.
I believe he picked
because they played against. If he put them in this week, they played against Cleveland, so that was a good move. Yeah, solid lineup decisions. Just everybody just had kind of an underperforming week. So on the flip side of the coin, looking over to Joel, this is your chance to get him. And it basically had the same issue. Everybody just didn't perform well. His boys get the win in probably the ugliest game of the week of the Broncos versus the Jets.
That was such a bad game.
It was awful, but he gets the win. You hate seeing Derrick Henry come back into form a little bit and still get a loss there. That really sucks. Cortland Sutton with 3.7 points. I mean, what? That's just trash, dude.
It's bad. One
I
of three
mean,
receptions.
yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, he had 1.6 in week 2, but outside of that, he's had great production. So that's just an anomaly there. So that really stinks. Um, the trade with Katie didn't really get much of a boost from that. Only 5.7 points from that trade. Marvin Harrison gets injured, so I guess he went out in the game. He only got 6.2 points.
Yeah.
So Broncos balled out 22 points on defense. But like we said, if you're going to spend $18 on a waiver pickup, you got to put him in the game.
Yeah. Like
And
yeah.
that to me is his mistake there. You got to put Bourne in the game. I mean, he's obviously, and I get it. You only had 1 week of data to go off of. It's risky, but just looking at your wide receivers, I'd rather take a gamble on him than some of these other people. Than if you're going to gamble with Kemba with Walker, Kemba Walker. If you're going to gamble with Walker, why not gamble with Bourne?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like to me, you just got to put Bourne in there. And I think that would have given him the win. So that's my biggest mismanagement of the week is, dude, you're going to spend $18 on a waiver wire pickup. He had a good game. What do you have to lose to put him in there? And it would have given you the win. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to break this game down because it's just the battle of I almost said the two stinky games.
Two snap, crackle, and pop games.
Yeah, two snap, crackle, and pops.
I mean, I think I can give a little bit of like, I think I can piggyback off of what you're saying. Like, I understand, Joel. I understand why you didn't put in Bourne, but I do understand why you didn't. You know, you have Sutton, you have Shaheed. Those have been your two main guys, and for the most part, they've put up okay numbers. So like, you're gonna keep them like that. Marvin Harrison was your flex guy. Been putting up some okay numbers, which is good. You just picked up Kenneth Walker, and you're like, oh, let me put him in. He's my new guy, which is understandable. But again, it's one of those things of like, if I see $18, if I see a team that going in are 2 and 3, really trying to make that push to the next level, and I see $18 on the waiver. That's not I'm going to put $18, I'm going to let him sit on my bench. That's something that Katie does. That's something that Heather does. That's something that people who already have the guaranteed bona fide players that are fitting in right now, who are like, let me experiment, sit on the bench, see how he does. Especially because that player is only getting he's only getting what he's getting right now because there are so many injuries of players that are going to be coming back. I mean, the reason why he got 34 points the week prior and 25 points this past week was because he was a part of 80% of the snap count. Before that was in the 60s, and then week 2 he was under 50% of the snap count. He is a part of the offense so much more now because of that. Going from 4 targets to 11 and 9 targets. That is why. That is not going to stay. That is not going to last, because when Ricky comes back, when Juan Jennings is back and actually balling, Kendrick becomes a wide receiver 3. I know he's balling out right now, but he's going to be coming back to the wide receiver 3. That's just the honest truth. When Kittle comes back, he's going to be behind that. There's going to be so much people in the way of him actually getting numbers like this. So when I see $18 and I see that circumstance, he needs to go in. He needs to go in. I take that gamble. And overall, I don't think, other than that, I don't think you made a major mistake. The problem is that mistake right there is the reason why you lost the game. But yeah. Bo Nix has been your guy, and I can respect it. You traded out for Quinshon Judkins, and this was a dud game for him. But he's still the main guy up there, which is good. Derrick Henry actually produced. So you can't say anything about there. Your wide receiver options are the people you've been going with. Can't say anything about that. And then honestly, your flex options are who, like, you've been playing the people who you've been playing against, and it's gotten you almost to that 500 record. So your only mistake was Bourne, but it was a dire mistake. Going over to Kevin, it's getting to, it's not scary times, but I'm starting to be like, ugh, what, huh? Like, why is Saquon going back to back? Why is Saquon going down to 11 points? Against the Giants, you would really think that he would want to ball out. Why is Cook going back to back games, not showing up? 6 points into 13 points. Ugh, don't like that. What's going on there? It's one of those things of like what's going on? And then you look to the bench, you have Jamison Williams who balls out, but this is the first time he's balled out since week 2. You got Kamani Vidal who is just now showing up because the Chargers have nobody else to go to. And they're looking for a running back as well. Sources say. So it's like, you don't have a lot of options on the bench that I would say are bona fide, like, oh, I got it covered. And the players that you're relying on did not perform this week. You snuck out the win. Coming from a person who snuck out a win as well, I can respect it. No pulling handbrakes, but I will say you are on watch. We are going to look at it. Because if this happens a third week in a row, nervous. But we'll see how it goes. I think overall, though, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to be scared. Just want to look at it. Just look at it for a second. Maybe you can pick somebody up just to maybe secure it a little bit more, or maybe you just had an off week. We'll see.
I don't like 3 quarterbacks on your team.
That's also true. 3 quarterbacks is a little bit foul.
But I mean, Lamar Jackson's out, and he's got Connor in his injured reserve spot. So I mean, I guess if you're just saying I don't want to put Jackson on the waivers, I don't want to put Lawrence Jackson or Goff on the waivers, I'll keep them. I understand it, but I just think, to your point, he's got to look for points everywhere. And I just think that having 3 quarterbacks on your team is just hard to waste a bench spot on a quarterback when you already have 2.
Yeah. But he's definitely on a downtrend. I mean, you're talking about week 3, he was at 208. Week 4, he was at 178. Week 5, he was at 162. And now in week 6, he's at 136.
That's the scary thing about running backs,
downtrend.
dude. That's the scary thing about running backs, is we all know when they hit that wall, do they just fall off like a cliff?
Yeah.
And Saquon has not been the Saquon of last year. He just hasn't.
Yeah.
He's not been terrible, but like, did he hit that running back wall?
And here's the honest truth. I said the same thing about Gordon. Alshon Jenti, he's starting to get to that 19 point. Do I think a 19 point is bona fide RB1? I kind of want to see their 20s.
But I feel Jenti is a rookie.
Yeah.
So his trajectory is this. Saquon's, he's on his second team. He's on his second big contract. This is typically around this time is when you start seeing these running backs trend down. How old is Saquon?
He's 28. He's only week 1. He's broken 20 points.
28, 29, 30 is when you see the running backs trend down.
Yeah.
That's usually when you see it.
Yeah. But this is where this is why I'm like, hey, let's not deep dive it. Let's put a pin in it and let's look at it next week. But Saquon, week 1, he's got 23 points. He has not gotten in the 20s since then. That's your running back 1.
I know.
A little bit nerve-wracking. Like, Cook is overperforming, and he's fallen off a cliff after going against Indianapolis in week 4, 6 points.
I was worried about Cook whenever he got the big contract. When these running backs get big contracts, they're just de-incentivized to put their bodies on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And Cook got paid this offseason.
Yeah.
So,
and St. Brown, I think he just had a dud week. I think everybody in Detroit had an off week, except for Jared Goff. 28 points is decent. Yeah. Probably not for this league, but 28 points is decent in this league. I think St. Brown just had an off week. Devontae Smith, 12 points. I mean, he's had a few 20s. It's just a little bit of that consistency, and then you know, you're waiting for T.J. Hawkinson to come back, or T.J. Hawkinson's on bye, so you have to throw him in. And then you look at the flex options, and your flex options just don't perform like this week. Rome didn't perform this week, but he has previously. This is where I'm like, hey, let's put a pause in it, because his flexes usually ball out. Pittman has balled out as a flex, and Rome has balled out as a flex as well. So that's where I'm like, let's pump the brakes for a second, because this is not normal. So we'll see.
Agreed. All right. And moving on to the final game of the week, the game that we were all waiting to see.
The girls are fighting.
What was going to happen? The girls are fighting. Heather's Haterade puts up 147.94 against All You Need Is Love, 156.96. Katie gets the win, moves to 5-1, and Heather catches the first L of the week.
Katie's the reason why you're number one in the standings right now.
Katie is.
Heather
Katie.
dropped from first in the standings to third. Now, granted, that is all because we're all 5-1, and it's down to points for against, points against.
Yeah.
But still.
And let's start with my queen. Let's start with Heather.
We have to.
The injury bug is here. It is here. You got Puka, questionable. Garrett Wilson, questionable. I think Zay Flowers is out for next week. I think he's out for next week.
Yeah, it's a bye next
week.
So
he's out. Oh, he's bye. So he's on bye. Then
he's on a bye.
I know, he's on bye. And then you've got Hampton, injured reserve. I mean, and she's got Joe Burrow, injured reserve. The injury bug is here, and it has caught Heather. And I think that's what you saw this week. 147 points. She went with Stafford over her boy Daniel Jones. It's a bad look. Indiana is balling out. I think you just got to stick with Daniel Jones.
Why did she do that? Because Daniel Jones has been balling out, and Arizona, it's not like Arizona is a crazy good it's not like Arizona's a crazy good defense. They have not been great. Yeah. And
I don't know.
Stafford's going against Baltimore.
I don't know why. You would think that Williams would have had a better game against the Panthers, 9.4 points. Kind of surprising to see those numbers for him.
Yeah.
Puka, he went out with a high ankle sprain, so that really nerfed his points for the week, 6.8 points. Taylor, still balls. So, I mean, Zay Flowers, I don't know what's going on with him. I just think, again, you got Lamar Jackson out. He's not throwing. You got a backup quarterback in there throwing to Flowers, missing that.
I believe it's Cooper Rush.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yikes. It is Cooper Rush.
That's a yikes. And then you've got
Cooper Rush. Just so you know, Cooper Rush threw 11 out of 19 for 72 yards, 0 touchdowns, and an interception.
Absolute.
He also attempted. He had 1 rushing attempt for nothing, and fumbled.
Yikes, that is bad. Scattaboo doing scattaboo things. So Garrett Wilson, I mean, dude, he looked pissed. I mean, you gotta just like
Justin Fields is just awful.
He's just terrible.
He's so bad.
I mean, I think you got to bench. I'd rather start Hollywood Brown over Garrett Wilson.
He's also expected to miss a couple of weeks with a hyperextended knee, so you can't play Wilson.
With a hyperextended knee, aka I don't want to play for the Jets anymore because they are trash. That's what that is.
That's fair.
That's the truth. Dude. He was pissed. I mean, I think if you have Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson on any other team, they're probably top running back, top receiver in the league.
Oh yeah.
The Jets are so bad.
Imagine being Garrett Wilson and your head coach comes up to you and goes, "Okay, I know you're catching balls last year from Super Bowl winner Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
And I know this is his first year fully healthy with the team, and you guys were building chemistry, but we're dumping him and we're going to pick up Justin Fields." Imagine being that guy. Imagine being Garrett Wilson right now. I'd be pissed. I'd be like, what?
I'd be pissed.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah. So anyway, I think her biggest miss this week, and in both these decisions, I think give her the win. Let me see. No, not the Travis Kelsey. I would have started Travis Kelsey instead of Kraft just because it was a primetime game. And so I just think that Mahomes is going to throw it to Kelsey. Like
Yeah.
he's going to. So he's pretty much good for 10 points no matter what. And it just depends on how far he goes from that. So I think that's a miss. And I think you got to start Daniel Jones at this point. I mean,
Start Daniel Jones. She should have never went off of Daniel Jones to
I
begin
know,
with.
I know.
She
Q,
wins
these
if
are,
she just keeps it normal. She got too
I
fancy
know.
with the spices.
QB3, QB7, QB11, QB26, QB18, QB4.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
You got to keep him in the
before
game.
before
So
before we go over to Katie, I want to say like I think this is where I think some of the inexperience from Heather is still creeping up of like Daniel Jones did have a bad game for our standards. 26 points is amazing for a quarterback in any other standards, but in this league is not great. Um and she responds with throwing him to the bench when you have actual proof that sorry, actually never mind. I'm going to backtrack because I didn't look at the previous ones. I will give her the benefit of the doubt that the past 3 weeks have not been great for Daniel Jones. But I
Stafford.
but to go for Stafford, I will still say like even though I see 26 22 26. So Heather, skirt what I was about to say because I didn't look at the stats, so that's my apologies. It doesn't change what I'm going to say at the end of this. I understand you're seeing 26 22 26. Not amazing, but you look at the matchup of a Daniel Jones with the Colts that are looking great, looking pretty good overall, against Arizona that does not have a significant good defense, and you decide to bench to go for Stafford against the Ravens. It's just like I probably would not have made that move overall. I think you
But
tried too hard.
Stafford went 41-43 the previous 2 weeks. And does Stafford do better if Puka doesn't get injured and she gets double points with Puka? So again,
I
I think it's
guess.
a toss up. I'm just a believer in you just got to ride with your guns. That's why I don't like having two quarterbacks on your team because you
Yeah.
get into the decision making flip flop.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, she was going to go with Joe Burrow for the season, and he got injured. So now she's in this conundrum of what to do. I just think you got to pick Daniel Jones and just ride
Yeah,
with
but we
him.
were we were praising her like in week 2 or 3. I think it was week 3 when she picked up Daniel Jones, and we are like, "Hey, you got Daniel Jones is balling. He's a good stopgap right now until Burrow gets back."
I don't think Burrow's coming back. I
I
think
don't
he's
think he. I
done.
don't think he is. If he's coming back, he's not coming back in a time where I think it matters post game. Because if he comes back, I think it's going to be yeah. I don't think he's coming back. I I thought Daniel Jones would be kind of that good stopgap just to keep it going. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's too much. Anyway,
And
keep
then
going.
moving on to Katie, nothing like crazy, like surprising.
Josh
Um,
Jacobs.
yeah, I mean Josh Jacobs, yeah. You know, I think that she really she went obviously she's a Green Bay fan, but she went hard of the Green Bay players coming off the bye. Let me put them in. Which I mean, I
They're
guess it paid
fresh.
off with their
They're
yeah, they were
fresh.
fresh. I mean, Josh Jacobs balled out. I mean, so you can't be too upset about that call there, obviously. So Packers defense, like 3 points, it kind of sucks. Drake London, 40 points on the bench. My dear
That
Lord.
was unexpected
Unexpected.
against
So
Buffalo.
yeah, I'm not gonna fault her for that at all.
No,
I mean,
no.
he's been complete trash. So yeah, I mean, again, I think both these teams underperformed, and it's a blessing to Katie that she got to play Heather on a down week, and
Yeah,
she got a win because she also had a down week.
yeah.
Because the reality is, if these two ladies here played any of if they played me, you,
Caleb,
Caleb, Shawn, they catch L's. They catch L's.
it's crazy.
So the schedule really worked in Katie's favor here, and I think she's just gotta lick her wounds and praise and be like, I squeaked out a win and be happy with that.
Yeah,
I think Heather, like I said, I don't think that there's no both these teams. There's no reason to sound the alarms.
No, not at all. Not at
No,
all.
it's fine. It just is what it is, and you just kind of move on from it. I do think Heather has some injury management to deal with,
Yeah.
but she's when you're at 5-1 already in this league, like we're at the midway point, right? We're
Yeah.
halfway through. So you're at 5-1, you're almost a lock. I mean, what's the playoff percentages here? Let's see here. Can we look at it? Playoffs. Let me see here. Uh, they don't have the percentages on here, or at least I don't know where to see them. Um,
She regardless of what it is on Sleeper, I don't think Heather has to worry. I do think Heather got I think the reason why Heather lost uh to come back to Heather before we go over to Katie. I think I Heather lost this game individually, pick wise, because Daniel Jones was not playing, and Daniel Jones probably should have been playing based on the matchups. But in reality, if she doesn't get unlucky with Puka and Puka keeps doing what he's doing, Katie loses this easily.
yeah,
Because Puka this was not because Puka had an off week. It's because Puka literally got injured. Um so it's one of those things of like you do have injury management to deal with. Zay Flowers on a bye week. Puka is going to be out next week, I believe. Yeah, no, Puka has avoided a long-term injury, so probably I don't know if he's going to be playing next week. I doubt it. Um, Garrett Wilson, you're gonna have to, trade it. You're gonna have to start looking to the bench as well, looking at Hollywood Brown, looking at Cooper Cup, you're looking at waivers to see who can be that stopgap to get you by this hard time. But
yeah,
definitely don't sound the alarms. This is your first loss in week 6. You're fine. You don't need to worry. I think you're at the point where you really don't need to worry about if you're going to make the playoffs. You need to worry about, can I get that week 1 bye? Because week 1 bye is just an upset potential chalked away. That's where you're at. And that's why we're saying, hey, you need to start looking at these things. For Katie, you're in the same, I mean, you two have the same score. You had an off week, but you did fine. You did great. And you are also in the hunt with me and Mike of who can get that week 1 bye. That's the most important thing. Josh Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, right now you have the best running back pair. And it shows. 38, 28 points. That is crazy good. The wide receivers are looking grim right now, at least from this week. Devontae Adams is having that low time. Keenan Allen has not had a good past few weeks. And with the emergence of Drake London, is it time to bring him in? I think it might be time for a little swapperoo. He, besides the bye week, the past 2 weeks he has produced 71 points in 2 weeks against Washington and Buffalo, who both have decent defenses. You go against San Francisco, Miami, New England. I think London comes in easily, and I think that solves one of your it solves one of your wide receiver issues. Other than that, I just think I think some of your teams just didn't show up. Honestly, I think like Mike said, it was just an off week, but the people who you needed to really be there for you were there. Christian McCaffrey was there, Josh Jacob was there, Jordan Love was there, and those were the people that carried you.
for sure.
So yeah.
All right. So looking ahead to next week,
Mm.
looking at the games, there's a couple big ones. I think my biggest game of the week that we need to be watching is Joel versus Gordon. They play each other both at 2-4.
Oof.
Joel's on a 2-game losing streak. Gordon just got a win, and it's going to flip flop who's in the 6th spot for the playoff.
Yeah.
So that's a big game. Also, 2 other games that are interesting is I play Katie, you play Heather. It's the battle of the 5-1s.
Yeah.
So 2 of us are moving to 6-1, and 2 of us are moving
To 5
to
and 2.
5-2. So that's an
Crazy.
interesting. That's going to create a separation there.
Yeah.
That's going to create a separation. So those 3 games are the ones I'm watching at. The fun game of the week, the fun matchup of the week, I would say the 2 fun matchups are you've got Shawn and Tori, and then you got Caleb and Kevin.
Family
So
fights.
you got two house divided matchups going down, which is great. But my game I'm watching next week that I'm the most intrigued with is Gordon versus Joel. Is
I
that where your eyes go?
No, mine is by far what I'm going to call the trap fight, which is Shawn versus Tori. Because Shawn is trapped no matter what. If he loses, he goes to 0-7, and we're coming back again with a back that Applebee's up and get a spanking from your wife. Oh, it's going to be great. I might get balloons if that happens. But if you win, then your wife's going to be pissed at you and you still lose. You don't win either way, Shawn. This is a trap week for you, and I would just be prepared for anything that could go wrong will go wrong in this. But no, I mean, I think
love it.
I think week 7 is going to be by far the best week. This will decide, like you said, like from the top end, who's going to go to 6-1, who's going to go to 5-2. It also is for the low end. Can Tori really get that separation from Shawn, hit 2-5 while Shawn goes to 0-7 to get that separation, while Gordon, Joel, and Caleb are also trying to get that separation from the bottom end. So there's going to be a big separation.
If Tori gets a win, here's the thing. If Tori gets a win, then she's going to be tied with either Gordon or Joel.
Exactly. And that's
because one of them is going to get an L.
And possibly Caleb as well, if Caleb gets an upset on Kevin.
Yeah, I know.
And if that happens, then Kevin is starting to, if that happens, then Kevin is looking closer to who's below him than who's above him. So, like, this has potential to really split up the standings and really kind of change how we're looking right now. Because right now, you kind of see two blocks. You see the upper block and the lower block. That's going to go away after this week, I feel. And that is what I'm excited for.
You're going to have threes. You're going to have like the top, and then you're going to have a middle, and then you're going to have a bottom.
Exactly.
After this week.
It's going to be great.
What's your loser for the week?
Oh, man. I think my loser of the week has to go to Caleb. I mean, Caleb was going at it. I don't think I was leading at all until I think the only time I got the lead, besides at the very end, was at the end of the Sunday night games, and I was only up by like a few points, and it was like projected 70% Caleb because he had the defense and the quarterback versus just my one running back. And literally I won by 10 points, but it was really that 55-yard catch and Jaden Daniels fumbling it like a buffoon, to give him more points to get that distance that got me the win. So Caleb, I do feel bad because I feel like you deserve to win it and you got unlucky. What about you?
I think my loser of the week is Shawn. You get the fourth highest scoring. I mean, like, you get the fourth highest scoring team. You almost are the third highest scoring team, and you still lose because you got.
I think that's
matched up with just an absolute buzzsaw of 242 points.
Oh yeah, just you thought you were
that sucks.
You thought you were the big man on campus, and then you literally got squished like a bug.
I know that sucks.
It's unlucky.
All right, who's your winner of the week?
The winner's got to be Katie. The winner's got to be Katie.
Ooh.
Katie took down the Giant. Now, I say that with pride, peace, love to you, Katie, but I also say with a little bit of disappointment because there was not a lot of smack talking. I mean, we're going to war against the enemy of the state, the only undefeated team. Like, you know what really shivers my timbers right now, Mike? This is all improv.
Zoom in.
I'm actually upset about this. You know what really shivers my timbers? I hate the lack of disrespect that we give to other managers in season 2. Last season, when Kevin was the big bad, everybody was like, "Oh, we hate Kevin. Oh, we want Kevin to go down." But then when Heather gets it, Katie's like, this is one for the girls. Like, it's girly pop. Like, I'd be okay if she wins. No, you're going to war You want the win. I don't see the blood in the eyes. I don't see the desire to win.
Blood in the eyes.
I want to see. I've been watching too much anime. When they go sicko mode, their eyes get all bloody and stuff. Regardless, I don't see the drive. It's double standards, and I'm sick and tired of it. It's really shivering my timbers. Just what is going on with this league? I want to see more cookings. I want to see more disrespect. I want to see it across all the aisles. Regardless, I want equality of cookings, and it's not fair. But Katie, you get the winner because you took down the Giant, and I'm very proud of you, and your Green Bay team did very well. So congratulations, Katie. You got my winner. What's yours?
That was so good. I'm going full heel. I'm the winner, dude. I'm the winner of the week.
That's fair.
242 points. I feel like I got a great trade. I feel like I've done 2 great trades. I think that I've found 2 great trades with 2 great people. They've worked for both of us. It's positioned me where I want to be at the top of the league. And I'm putting the league on notice. I'm going full heel. You can hate me because you ain't me.
The homeless.
And I'm here to take it home, baby. And yes, I did rob the homeless. I took from the poor and I gave to myself. And that's how I roll, baby. East Carolina Pirates are playing Thursday night. Y'all tune in. We need to get a win. But more importantly, you tune in on Sunday and you watch this boy cook. Because I'm about to be cooking, dog. Katie, get ready. I'm coming for you. All you need is love. All you're going to need is to buckle up them chin straps because I'm coming hard-nosed football. You best be ready. You best bring ya any game. Okay. So, yeah, that's who I think the winner of the week is. Me.
Goodness. It's equivalent to you giving a meal to a homeless person and then taking a selfie and being like, look at all the good stuff I'm doing. Like, and then really just looking over the likes and comments and just really getting off to that.
You know what they say? If you're going to feed the homeless, make sure other people know about it.
Make sure you tweet that. All right, well, that is the end of this week's episode of the CRFFL podcast. I have been Will. This has been Mike. Thank you guys so much for your time of watching this. Get on them waivers. Get in those trades. See what you can do to really spice it up. We got a big one coming up. Big week coming up. Big games coming up.
This might be the biggest week of the league. This is the biggest week of the year, for sure.
We might come back war-torn. We'll see how it goes. But until then, love y'all. Peace.
Football, football. Football, football, football. Football, football, football. Football, football, football. Football, football, football.